Okay, when I read this article, I was further impressed by Kevin Stefanski and his prowess, his mind, his offensive mind.
His brain.
And I got to think that the word of Kevin Stefanski is spreading around the league as teams start to look for their next head coach and start thinking about who that next head coach would be. Would you agree that he's going to be a candidate if they continue to have the success on the offensive side of the football that they have?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. We were talking about that on Tuesday. And where's Stefanski going to go? Where's there going to be open, things like that. And before we go any farther, my thing was I hope Kevin stays here. I hope he doesn't leave.
Okay, and I have a way to keep him here.
I know you do, and I love it.
I have a way to keep him here, Alex Boone, because I've discussed, and I'm sure you've discussed with Matthew Collar a few times, as this season has developed and unfolded the way that it's developed and unfolded, that this suddenly went from being a defensive team to being an offensive football team. And Mike Zimmer, I don't think I need to tell most people listening to this, but I'll tell you anyways, is a defensive head coach. That's his specialty. He was a defensive coordinator his whole career and a brilliant defensive mind at that. But he's also getting up there in years. And if this is turning from a defensive team into an offensive team, and that's your strength, that's your backbone as a football team, and folks come a-calling about Kevin Stefanski and a head coaching position in the offseason, if you're the Vikings and you don't want to lose Kevin Stefanski and you think you have a real good thing of Stefanski, Kubiak, and Kirk Cousins on the field, do you consider saying it's been real, Mike Zimmer, but we're going to move in a new direction and hand the reins over to Kevin Stefanski as the head coach?
Dude, it's 2020. I am not surprised by anything. I've seen Odell Beckham get traded. The best player in the NFL got traded to the worst team again, still somehow. But yeah, I see it. And I see it because I see him as a young coach, as a rising coach. I see the offense gravitating towards him more. But my question becomes this for Mark and Ziggy Wilf. What's the risk versus reward, right? Like, say Kevin comes to you and he's like, hey, listen, I'm being pursued by these teams. I'm really considering leaving. What's to stop them from going, well, okay, it's Kubiak's offense anyways, and he's staying, so later. But I see the other side too, where it's like, hey, you finally have the answer to the biggest question, like what is going on with this quarterback? You got this quarterback playing lights out. Great football. He's doing things that even the greatest guys can't do. I mean, he rolls to his left, and we talk about this a lot, and people appreciate how much a quarterback can roll to his left, but I don't. I love it. I think it's great. You've opened up so much more of the offense now. Thank you for being able to just run to your left. So for me, it's like, man, he's done a lot of things with Kirk this year, and he's really made Kirk look good. Now, Kirk's done a lot of the work himself, almost all of it. He's taken all the hits. He's made all the throws. He's done all the great things. But yes, I think the way that he's responding to Stefanski, or maybe it is Kubiak, who really knows who he's responding well to, the offense is rolling. A lot of it is through Dalvin, which it's like, man, some of the games are going to be won just because Dalvin's going to run through people. And then eventually the seasons wear on, week 15, 16, 17, teams that are out of it are like, dude, do we really want to get in the way of this guy?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we are not going to the playoffs. Am I really going to try and stop this freight train? Now, some guys, I'm going to be honest with you. Some guys get out on the field and they're like, man, I don't care. I'm here to ruin everybody's day. And those are the guys that I always enjoyed playing with, right? Like, as an O-lineman, you don't get to be like, do I want to stop today? You have to be like, I'm ready to go today. So you find the really tough games where you're like, man, we are 0-13 and this game's going to suck. You're like, you know what? I'm going to ruin their life today. We are just going to run power all day. We're going to try and knock them out of the playoffs. So you think, how many teams are they going to play down the stretch like that, right? Are the Bears maybe? They don't have Akeem Hicks really. You got the Chargers going down there. Are they really going to be in the contention then? I mean, you're looking at this thing and it's like, man, this offense really has done a really good job. And Zimmer's contract is up this year, so they really do have a tough decision to make. Like, hey, listen, we could roll with Stefanski from here on out and just make George Edwards the guy, and we can roll that way. Or Stefanski's probably going to leave, and we keep Mike, and then Kubiak officially becomes the OC, or maybe his son Clint becomes the OC. Whatever they decide to do, they're covered either way. I mean, George and Mike have been working together so long. I'm sure they could pick each other's brain easily. And then Kubiak and Stefanski, they're running the same offense. They're probably just throwing stuff off of each other.
Collar talks about this all the time, and it's Ramie McLaughlin for Matthew Collar along with Alex Boone on Purple Daily here on Score North, that if you're the type of team that the Vikings were previous to this year, and that's a defensive type of football team, or like the Bears were last year, a defensive type of football team, you can win a Super Bowl that way. You can contend for a Super Bowl that way, but your window opens and closes real fast. Like in a matter of 2 or 3 years, you're going to see a defense start to decline because there are so many moving parts to that need to keep running at an optimal level for the defense to stay that defense. The easiest way, the quickest and path of least resistance to contending for a Super Bowl is to have a high-powered offense and an MVP level quarterback. That's just the easiest way to do it. And along those lines, Alex, I've always thought the best way to build that type of environment and foster that type of environment is to find your quarterback you believe in, find an offensive mind that you believe in, make him the head coach so nobody can hire that guy away from you, attach them at the hip, and go until it runs out of steam or it runs out of magic. That's what the Packers did with Mike McCarthy. It's what the 49ers did time and time again with Bill Walsh and Kevin Seifert and Joe Montana and Steve Young. For me, that seems like the formula to sustain excellence and to sustain being relevant and being a contender. And the Vikings, they had that window close on them this year in terms of being a defensive team who can contend. And it sort of just falls in their lap that now they can be this offensive football team. I think it'd be foolish to just turn a blind eye to that and say, no, we're going to keep doing things the way that we have with Mike Zimmer, the defensive mastermind, and a revolving door at offensive coordinator that's going to make Kirk Cousins' job just that much harder. You do have the consistency of Gary Kubiak if you get him to stick around, assuming he doesn't go with Stefanski to help him set up shop wherever he goes. You have that consistency, but I feel like if you can have a young offensive mind in Kevin Stefanski and you're sold on Kirk Cousins and you can sign both those guys up and attach them at the hip and roll forward, I think that's the most optimal way for this Vikings team to move into the future. I think they're looking in the rear view. If this continues and Kevin Stefanski is a hot commodity, they're looking in the rear view of how Mike Zimmer has done instead of looking ahead of them and through the windshield of what this team could be with an offensive mind like Kevin Stefanski seems to be.
I agree, and I want to say two things though. Number one, I think a lot of the problems that the defense has been having this year, a lot of the defenses in this league have been having, and it stems from, and I want everybody to brace themselves, it stems from the fans. They wanted the replay. You guys wanted all this stuff. I want to be able to slow-mo the game. I want to be able to pause it and stop it and pause it and stop it. Dude, I don't care. It's a full-speed game. You either want to watch it or you don't. Okay, but now all of a sudden the refs have become a huge problem for defenses. Because if you're a cornerback, you can't even sniff around a receiver or else they're going to call you for PI. I mean, this league has literally been torched. All the rules are officially out the window. Because you'll hear a commentator go, well, that's pass interference, but it's not egregious. Okay, so once again, there's a line in the sand. We know we've crossed it, but we're going to say, no. The line's way down there now.
Right.
Dude, it's a bend, don't break defense. I think that a lot of defensive coordinators are getting pitted with a lot of bad things. Now, there's a couple defenses right now that are just stellar. Obviously, the Patriots, Bill Belichick, give him his own wing at the Hall of Fame. Deserves every bit of it. You look at the Niners defense, they've been rolling, but then all of a sudden you start playing these good teams with these good quarterbacks and they find their tight windows because all of a sudden the defenses are getting pinned against good quarterbacks. They're like, hey, man, that's PI. And the refs are like, you're right, that is PI. This is a good quarterback telling me it's PI, so it must be PI, right? Like, dude, this is just not even football anymore. We have gone like, what is this? This is like flag touch? What are we playing? So for me, I don't necessarily look at this defense and go, man, their window closed. I think every defense's window closed. Listen, if you're not absolutely on your P's and Q's for 60 minutes, you're going to get torched somewhere because they're going to start throwing flags. You're going to have to go to a zone. Then everything's going to break up. It's just the way the league is. And it annoys the living hell out of me. And especially as a player, because even as a player, you're like, man, just let the game go.
But you're an offensive guy. I thought you'd like that.
Dude, you know how many
make things easier
they still
for
call guys
your
on
people.
PI? They still call OPI. They're calling picks. I mean, dude, the pick game has gone way down. I mean, before these penalties, the picks were, I mean, we used to watch them in the meetings like, God, I can't believe you guys got away with that. That's incredible. You know, and, dude, G-Ro, Greg Roman used to have the greatest line. He would see it and he'd go, actor, not attractor. I love it. Dude, it was all about the acting. And now, dude, you can't even let two receivers run by each other. I mean, you get in bunch formation, and it's like, man, 1 left, 2 left, 3 left. Like, it used to be everybody just goes.
Yeah, because the eye in the sky is watching.
And now everybody's watching. So the game's just kind of not as fun for me. It's like, God, you really just let these refs pick these guys apart. But for me also, I look at this and I say, you know what, man? this offense has been down for a while. And I mean, other than the year that Casey took them, it's just been everybody's tried to come in and fix it. And you're right. When you have a defensive minded coach, they always want to go, dude, just run the ball, right? Because they're always like, I want to play it safe. A good defensive coach has like 3 plays. He's never going to blitz you. He's always going to keep contained, and they know where their gaps are. So on offense, he's like, dude, just run the ball. Why are you throwing it? I want the opposing team to throw it. I don't want us to throw it. So when you have an offensive minded coach, they're like, dude, I can't wait to torch this defense. Like it just everything flips, and you're looking at it and you're like, man, maybe they are being held back a little bit. I wonder how much farther they could go. I wonder how many more plays they have. I wonder what else Kevin Stefanski has in that big black book of his. And I really kind of want to see it.
And I mean, the defense isn't bad. It's got its flaws, specifically at the cornerback position. But I would say they went from being consistently a top 5 defense over the last handful of years under Mike Zimmer to being a top 10 defense, which is still good. But the strength of this team now is the offense. Let's say they do what I'm saying maybe they should do, Alex, and Mike Zimmer is gone next year. How much of a drop-off is there if you keep one of Zimmer's disciples around? I don't know who it would be, but you keep one of his assistants around and say, you run the defense, Kevin Stefanski is going to run the offense. Do you expect drop-off if Zimmer is shown the door?
For sure. I always expect drop-off. And I mean, no matter who the coach is, no matter what it is, you're always going to have a level of drop. Now, sometimes you might have the team might rise up. I mean, you never know. You're looking at this, and sometimes coaches disagree with each other. I'm sure George Edwards and Mike Zimmer have been down the road where he's like, hey, man, I want to go cover 2 over defense. And all of a sudden, George is like, dude, I want to go all out. You run into those, hey, listen, I'm the boss. This is how we roll. All right, cool, fine. So you never know how it's going to go. The big point for me was Chicago. When Vic left, everybody was like, dude, this defense is going to be stellar. They're built forever. Dude, the defensive coordinator leaving is a huge deal. I mean, it's a whole new face. It's a whole new aura. It's a whole new energy. You're getting a whole new vibe from this guy. He wants to play guys in different positions. He wants to play a different defense. Hey, listen, I like to blitz a little more. Things change. Who knows if it's for the good or the bad? You're going to find out soon enough. The key is Mike leaving has nothing to do with the talent on the team. The talent is still there. They're still good players. I still think Xavier Rhodes is a good cornerback. He's just a physical cornerback. He's one of these guys that's like, dude, I like to be on top of you, blanketed around you all day. I want to push you. I want to see how tough you are. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
And that's what I thought too, Boone, until I saw Cortland Sutton just pushing him off when Xavier Rhodes was trying to be physical last week.
But then again, I think that maybe X is too scared. Like he's like, dude, I don't want to get called. Like now all of a sudden he's in his head.
True.
And you've taken a player who is naturally a great athlete and it has tremendous skill, and you've put him in his own mind, which is the last place that an athlete ever wants to go. Everything should always be actionary or reactionary. I did this because you did this. It just